And welcome to the super fun, awesome, happy time Eurorack show! My name is Gabor.
Hey, welcome along. I'm Alex, and this is the Euphoria from Dreadbox today.
Hello, Dreadbox. All the way from Greece. Thank you so much for sending this out to us. It's a phaser, an 8-stage phaser. In yellow, which currently in this light here, I can't see any other stuff on it, but we'll work our way through.
Yeah, it's cool except for the font. So,
it's hard to read, very hard to read.
if you'd like to see some more videos on guitars with Eurorack modules, please hit like and subscribe on the channel. Give us a thumbs up, ding the bell, and all that stuff helps us do our thing.
Yes, please.
Also, comments and questions below.
Yes, please. Please do.
So, the
Setup
thingy. Going through the modules via the Strymon guitar interface
The
module.
Alcoholics Anonymous one.
That's the
So
one.
we're going in here, then that's... Can you sort of see that? You can sort of see that there. Goes through that, out of that, and then into Alex.
Into me. Mostronics amp switcher.
Andrew?
That's got a Cheritone OTS Mini 20 headset to clean.
Yes.
And a greenback in a Isocab. Mic to LEWITT MTP440 microphone.
Good people.
Also some IRs from a Torpedo, 2 notes Torpedo Captor X. Doing some IRs and a little bit of reverb for fun. That's the usual guitar setup. So basically it's just using this as a effects pedal.
Yes, and I was pointing to the video there before. Yeah, pretty much. That's all we're doing. We're using it kind of like just going straight into the amp.
Yep.
You could run it into the effects loops and all that sort of stuff if you wanted to, but we're just going straight into the amp. Okay, so what we're doing. So at the moment, this is the clean sound
Sure.
with this lovely guitar. What kind of guitar is that you're playing there, Alex?
Combinata, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, right. This is new to us. These are really lovely guitars. 2 P90s. And we'll just go in the middle position.
Rivolta Combinata. When you look at me like that while you play with your wiggle stick, that's always funny. But anyway.
Wiggle.
And we got to call it wiggle stick.
Yes.
It's officially now wiggle stick.
Or
Okay, so
wiggle doodle.
wiggle doodle. So we're going into the Strymon interface. We mentioned this before, but Eurorack stuff is very hot. So the volume is very, very high. And if you weren't using one of these to drop the volume by 18 decibel when you're going into your amp, you would overdrive your amp. So there'll be a lot of volume. Too much volume there. It's like running a boost, cranking a boost in front of it. So we're going into here, which you can hopefully sort of see, this cable here. And then we're going out of this, and this will now go into here. So basically we have 4 little inputty thingy-dingies down the bottom, and we have 4 sliders, and we have 4 twisty knobs, and 4 more inputty thingy-dingies. Technical terms. The 4 inputty thingy-dingies and 4 knobs up the top we're not looking at right now because that's all CV related stuff. So once we use other modules to modulate the stuff here, at the moment we're just looking at what we can actually do with just the module on its own. So we have a I think it's a, what is it called, 10 VPP input, which is the normal Eurorack volume input. You also have a guitar input, so technically you could plug straight into this.
Yep.
But you can also use this to overdrive the module, which we're going to look at in a second. Then you have right at the end, you have a mix output, and then you have a wet only output, which we'll look into as well. And then you have the 4 sliders. You have feedback, manual, rate, and level. So these 2, rate and level, it's the LFO inside. So the LFO is basically the thing that makes it modulate, right? So that makes the phaser move. This is how fast it goes, which goes ridiculously fast. And this is basically the intensity level of that. So you can have it a very subtle LFO, you can have it really in your face LFO. And then manual and rate, which we'll get into. So for now, so we're plugged into the normal Eurorack level thing. And then we're going, start off with a mix out, and we're going back into here. So now we're running through the phaser, which sounds like this. Now, all the slideys are down, so it doesn't do anything. Oh. So let's start off by looking at things like, for example, I'll just move sliders and see what happens. So let's move the feedback knob and see what happens. It's windy. So that's like a normal phaser, basically, right? So you've got this kind of, the feedback is sort of really the intensity of the phaser.
It's not self-oscillating, it's getting pretty nuts.
You can kind of, when you turn the rate up, it goes into FM kind of rate. But we don't necessarily need to do that. But so basically the feedback is kind of like, so it's a feedback circuit. So the signal goes through and it goes back into itself, and it gets more intense basically as you turn it up. Manual is kind of like the wave shape to a certain degree, and you probably can't really see it there, but there's a little line in the middle, and then you actually got positive and negative. So you can actually, with a lot of Eurorack stuff, there's actually with a lot of Eurorack stuff, there's actually a lot of it works in the positive realms and negative realms, which a lot of, in the guitar world, you don't hear about that sort of stuff. But trust me, we'll look at it in a second. Okay, and then you have, so the LFO rate, basically, so if I turn the phaser up a bit more, this is just the intensity of the LFO, right? So the LFO is the thing that makes it modulate. Mm-hmm. And I'll bring the intensity up and down just so you can see what that does.
Okay.
So basically, by turning the level of the LFO down, you can turn it to like a static. Basically, it's a static phaser because you're turning the level of the modulation down. Basically,
yep.
It goes ridiculously fast and ridiculously slow. So, like I said, it goes into basically FM mode, which almost sounds like a ring modulator. So, if I do this now, for example, this is where it goes into self oscillation, basically. It goes much further than most phasers. That's one of the things with Modulate. It sort of goes more to the extremes. A lot of the guitar stuff is sort of more normalized. This goes way to the extreme. Now let's have a listen to, for example, the manual, right? So if I just set it to like a nice gentle sweep. So by moving the manual around, it's almost, I think it's kind of like the wave shape changes. If we're going to positive, quiet. If we're going to positive, I think it's the shape of the wave. It ramps. One ramps slower and drops off quicker. The other one is the opposite way around, basically. So that's what that does. Now, one of the other things so basically like that, it's just like a normal phaser, right?
Yeah.
You can then, each one of these parameters, so these up here, you can modulate each one of these. So you can use other LFOs. You could, for example, if you watch our video on the Nostalgia, which you can watch here, that has a built-in, these LFOs, you can actually run these LFOs out. So you could use, for example, the LFO from here to, I don't know, modulate something there to sync them up together so they work together, basically.
Yeah, that's cool.
But we'll get into all that later on. Now, another thing you can do is basically with the feedback, once you go below to sort of here, the phaser almost disappears if you're in mix mode, but you can get into completely different sounds once you go into a wet only output mode.
Yeah.
So let's check that out. So for example, again, this is like a normal phaser sound. So once I go below here, it kind of disappears. But now if we go into here,
Yeah. That's a wacky vibrato
it's
land.
like a vibrato kind of thing, yeah.
Go faster. Should we go faster?
Sure, let's
Yeah.
go faster.
Oh,
It's wacky.
I can taste that one.
When you turn that feedback up again now, it almost goes into like vibe land, like a univibey kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Univibey kind of vibe?
Above that.
Vibe. And then you can go into self-oscillation world as well.
Yeah.
So that's basically, you get quite different sounds, and it sounds that you don't usually get out of when you have a clean signal mixed into it.
I do
Now,
like
the
that.
other thing you can also do is you can go into the guitar input level and actually overdrive everything versus that. So all it is a volume boost, right? So this is a compensated volume, so you don't necessarily need the Alcoholics Anonymous thing by Strymon. You can just go straight into that technically. But if you have the Alcoholics Anonymous thing by Strymon, you can go into this and use it as a boost to overdrive everything.
Yes, let's do that. Let's drive the snot out of it.
So now this is okay, let's start again with the mix output. So you're actually overdriving the schnizzles out of it. Let's just go into the direct output
That's
now.
a crazy, like, fuzzy.
Yeah, yeah. So I quite like it. This side, it's sort of that you,
Yes.
It's that, I don't know which side is quicker. It's like a quick ramp, slow down, I think.
This ramps up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it ramps up.
Yeah.
Quite you.
Like that.
So that's the other thing you can do. So you can overdrive it and get kind of almost distortion sort of sounds out of it, basically, or fuzzy sort of sounds out of it. And then, like I mentioned, so each one of those sliders you can modulate with this. So you can use an external LFO to plug into these, and then these are basically like your level controls for each one of those that can be controlled. And it does. So it's as if someone stands there and does this, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the fun's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, in the end, it is a phaser, but and on its own, it is just a phaser that can maybe do a few more things than a normal phaser can do. But once you get into the modulating thing, which there will be videos on that coming up shortly. Once we use the things above it, and maybe that as well, and a few other things to modulate it, then that's when the real fun starts. And then you combine it with other modules. But so the idea with this is just we're going to look at a bunch of these modules just by themselves. What do they do by themselves without anything else?
With guitar.
With guitar.
Obviously, they've been doing the synth thing for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our little exploration.
Yes.
And hope you're enjoying the ride. Yeah, like I said, if you do like this kind of stuff, like and subscribe to the channel.
Please do.
And yeah, this is going to be like a
lots more to come.
Pretty cool world to explore.
Lots more to come. There's lots of different Dreadbox colors to go through up the top here.
Yeah.
And then Erica synth stuff and all that. So yeah, stay tuned for all that. Big thank you to the awesome people at Dreadbox over in Greece for sending this out to us. Thank you so much. Yeah, and see you for some more Eurorack stuff soon.
Thanks for hanging. See you soon.